5 seconds.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We had a rather lengthy delay there. We're starting.
Reserve time.
Was it 22 minutes past when we were supposed to start? But yeah, there was a patch, a DotA patch. So the game coordinator went down because it was patching, came back up, then it went down again, came back up, went down again, came back up, and it kept having little patches. I have no idea what has actually been patched. I don't think there's any patch notes out there. I think we all kind of know that Valve isn't the best at communicating that kind of thing.
Radiant team ban.
But yeah, so we've got a patch. We don't know what happened. Hopefully it's not going to change anything. It would have just been kind of small bug fixes, I think. But yeah, we're going to have our winners match here for the Dota 2 Canada Cup Season 7, Group C. We've got Shazam, which already took our second game of the night. They won against Not Today. And our first game of the night was Dragneel, the Dragon Slayers, as they took their game against Perky Pepperonis, which we'll see Perky Pepperonis and Not Today in our next match following this one. So we'll get to see them again. But first we have quite a big match here between Shazam and Dragneel. Two big juggernauts that went very, very deep into the Manila Major qualifiers. Of course, we had Shazam go all the way to the finals where they ran up against Digital Chaos. And Dragneel, their run ended in the losers bracket finals against Digital Chaos. And they didn't really get a chance to show how they were going to stack up against Digital Chaos because they had a bunch of disconnect issues with Mason. So a little unfortunate for them. But this should be a big match. And I think a lot of people would have expected this to be the big match in the group. Both these teams would be kind of top two in the group and battling for that top spot. And we're gonna see who's the bigger one, the bigger team, the better team. Once this game is over, but it's just a best of one, so you know, anything can happen. So I look forward to it for sure, but. Yeah, I guess let's get into talking about the draft. We've got Nature's Prophet and Slardar banned out by Shazam. We've got Elder Titan and Alchemist banned out by Dragneel. On to our picks. We've got Enchantress and Darkseer opening again from Shazam. They opened with that last game. And Bounty Hunter and Doom were the picks for Dragneel. Into our second round of bans, Invoker gets banned out by Shazam. And Chaos Knight banned out by Dragneel. So already some interesting stuff coming out in this draft so far. As certainly we don't see Elder Titan banned very often. He was, I know I started late in game 1 and we just caught the end of the draft, but he was banned in that game as well. And we're seeing him banned here again. As I don't know about the Chaos Knight ban. That one's a little out there. That one I haven't seen banned too much. I haven't seen it get touched, but. Yeah, it's one of those, I guess, carries that really has a lot of strength in the mid game. His minus armor is very, very big. But I guess he doesn't have to be run as a carry. He was starting to get run as a support for a little bit. And that was interesting, but we really haven't seen that hero get touched much at all. I think we saw him played one game in the open qualifiers for the Manila Major that we casted. I think that happens. I don't remember if that team won or even really what happened in that game. I think it was a 5th pick. I've got this picture in my head of the draft and the Chaos Knight appearing there as
5 seconds remaining.
Holy crap, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on in chat here.
Reserve
Yeah, they had a DC player. Can we pause? Mason wants to pause. How do you pause in picking stage? Don't think you can pause and pick. You can, by the way. Snake King pauses the game. Alright, you did it. My bad. And blah, blah, blah. I lost. Spammed F9 and nothing. Yeah, I think you have to do it through console commands. You can't actually use your bind for it. But it looks like both teams are ready. And we're resuming the draft. I was wondering why we were taking a while there. I wasn't actually looking at the timers, but it was because it was paused the whole time. That makes a little bit more sense. Lifestealer ban from Shazam as we wait for Dragneel in their 4th ban.
10 seconds remaining.
I don't even think I introduced myself. Guys, if you're new here, I'm Niz. Welcome to NizCast. And like I said, we're casting the Dota 2 Canada Cup. If you want to find out more about the Dota 2 Canada Cup, you can go to dota2.ca. and you can even add a /schedule to find out exactly the entire schedule for the Dota 2 Canada Cup. Of course, we've got Group C and Group D kind of finalized. Of course, we're doing Group C now, but Group D finalized as well in terms of when those games are going to be. And then following that, there's some dates already in place for the playoffs. I think that some of those may change, but not 100% sure on that. We've had a lot of schedule changes in the Dota 2 Canada Cup in the past, but so far so good. We've been able to hammer out all the games on schedule as they were originally scheduled. So hopefully that will continue, but that's where you can find out the schedule and find out what's going on, as we've got just one more group after tonight to sort things out. That's going to be Group D with Enemy GG, Evernovas, Digital Chaos, and DKB, which is the Drinking Boys. So that should be a good series as well. Of course, Digital Chaos, Evernovas, and Enemy GG are all pretty strong teams. I think Digital Chaos is going to be the favorite in that one, with Evernovas and Enemy GG battling for that second spot. I would give the upper hand to Evernovas in that one, but I don't know, maybe a little too early to call. Drinking Boys, they are a very, very strong team. Unfortunately, I don't think they're on the same level as some of those other teams, but it should be a fun group to watch nonetheless. That'll be tomorrow that we'll be casting those games, and that's going to be starting at 6 o'clock, just as we started tonight. So we look forward to that, as we've got a Phantom Lancer banned out, and Bane was the pickup for Shazam.
10 seconds remaining.
They're going with a slightly different route than they went with last game,
5
but
seconds remaining.
it allows them to get a very, very strong support that's going to help zone out the offlaner.
Reserve time.
Which we don't even know what that's going to be from Dragneel yet. They've picked up Bounty Hunter and Doom, and you know, Doom typically run as that position 4 in the jungle. Bounty Hunter also kind of runs more position 4, putting pressure on the map, not really being the babysitting kind of support. So we expect that Doom to be in the off lane, and there we go. I think that's pretty much confirmed now as Lion gets picked up. So we expect him to be the babysitting support. And like I said, that Doom in the off lane. He'll probably start in the jungle for the first minute or so. Then he'll go into the off lane, and he may even rotate out of that off lane and give some space to Bounty Hunter at one point in the laning phase, so that he can get a little bit of XP and get closer to level 6, so he can get track online a little bit earlier. But we'll see if they choose to run it like that. But it does, for the time being at least, look like Doom is going to be the offlaner, and that support duo of Bounty Hunter and Lion.
Team pick.
As for Shazam, we expect the Darkseer to be in the offlane, Enchantress kind of that position 4 in the jungle, and Bane, the stay-at-home babysitting support. But now Lone Druid's been added on, so that kind of throws a wrench into things, because we can have a Lone Druid
10 seconds
either in the mid lane or the safe lane. I think if you put him safe lane, he should do quite well against the Doom, so that's a very viable option for Shazam, as they would still then just be looking for a mid hero, and they'll get a little bit more information about what Dragneel wants to do with their picks, because Dragneel is going to have to pick their mid hero first, as they pick up Morphling here. And we move into our final set of bans, as we're really starting to see a lot more Morphling getting played, as he's trying to come back into the meta.
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
We'll have to see how he does here against the Lone Druid.
Reserve time.
Shazam deciding what they're going to ban here. Like I said, it looks like a mid hero for either team. And Dragon Slayers, they've got their first pick coming out of this phase. So they've got their first choice of mid heroes. But of course then Shazam can counter, if there are still counters left in the pool. So Shazam bans out the Viper. And Dragneel, what are they going to remove?
10 seconds remaining.
This is it's an interesting position to be in the draft, when you get down to this point where both teams are deciding on who they're going to put in the mid lane. And Dragneel's, they've got the opportunity here to ban a strong counter to whatever they're going to pick, and then pick it. And if they're in a position where they can create a scenario where there's a hero that's going to fit on their team, and there's not really a strong counter coming out from Shazam, or at least something that's going to pair up with Shazam's team, then Dragneel's in a good spot. However, if there are multiple options still left in, then Dragneel's in a little bit of a tough spot because then they have to pick something that can probably easily be countered by something on the side of Shazam. Of course, there are options where you can pick heroes that just pretty much don't lose their lanes. But does that always fit into your lineup? Not always the case. Zeus is the number one hero that comes to mind in that regard. You can't really out-deny him. So Zeus always is pretty stable coming out of his lane. You always expect him to be in roughly the same spot. And for the most part, you think Invoker of the same way, but our last game was a pretty big example of that not being the case all the time, because we saw the Invoker struggle quite a bit as there was another pause. I'm really bad at watching these timers.
Reserve time.
Oh, they got more disconnects as their disconnect troubles continue. Well, I really hope we're not going to see a hype match get shut down again by the constant disconnecting. It looks like it's Mason DCing again. Well, Puck's going to be the ban from Dragneel, and now ball's in their court. What are they going to pick?
Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
They do still have 45 seconds of reserve time, so
Reserve time.
they don't have to feel rushed here. They do have to make a decision. And what is that going to be? What is it going to be? I think Death Prophet's going to be it
Team pick.
for Dragneel. And now Shazam, what are they going to do to counter here? There's obviously one of the biggest counters going to be the Templar Assassin. She easily counters the Death Prophet for the most part. And honestly, I think it's a hero that fits quite well in Shazam's hero pool. Or in Shazam's lineup.
5 seconds
So once again, another one of those heroes that's strong, kind of in the mid-game. Has a good laning phase, certainly against Death Prophet. But also strong in the mid-game, creating a little bit of space for Lone Druid, can group up with the Darkseer, the Bane, and the Enchantress. They're going to go with the Queen of Pain instead, but same kind of idea. And we already saw, MSS do some work on the Queen of Pain in our previous match. So it's obviously something that they feel quite comfortable with picking again, and they're going to snatch that up. And we're going to see how it does against Mason's Death Prophet. Well, guys, unfortunately, this has been
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
Okay, so the admins are going to be taking the pause time off that was used in the draft during the game. So either way, we're now into the game now, so hopefully there's going to be no more disconnects. But the admins are already stepping up, making sure that it's not going to be an issue. But we've got on our Radiant side, it's going to be Dragneel. We've got Clairvoyance playing the Lion. KYH is going to be on the Bounty Hunter. Kotaro is going to be playing the Morphling. Bondi or Mason's going to be on the Death Prophet. And Snaking is going to be playing the Doom. For our Dire side, it's going to be Shazam. We've got Brax playing the Darkseer. MSS is going to be on the Queen of Pain. TC is on the Lone Druid as... SVG's on our Enchantress, and Jason's going to be on the Bane as KYH going to walk right uphill, right into the welcoming, loving arms of the heroes of Shazam. And we are going to see First Blood here eventually. There it is. And MSS is going to get it, so great start to the game for the Queen of Pain in the mid lane. It's only a little bit of XP, only 32 XP, but a good boost of gold, well on his way towards getting his bottle. As that's the risk that you run when you're a bounty hunter trying to scout uphill. They're maybe a little too risky, I think, for the benefits, but I don't think they really pay off. But either way, we're going to have first blood there go in the way of Shazam.
Worthy tribute.
And because of that, Shazam's going to secure both runes as TC got the top bounty rune and MSS got the bottom. Well, here we go. Dragneel versus Shazam, Dota 2 Canada Cup, Group C winners match. The winner will go directly into the upper bracket, or the winner's bracket, in the playoffs. The loser will have to go in our 5th match against an opponent that has yet to be decided to determine which of those two will go in the upper bracket and which will go into the loser's bracket. Well, let's quickly take a look at our lanes. It's going to be Queen of Pain versus Death Prophet in the mid lane. Top lane is going to be a safe lane farming Lone Druid with the Bane protecting and babysitting. Doom's going to be the off laner for Dragneel. For our bottom lane, it's going to be off lane Darkseer going up against safe lane farming Morphling with a Lion supporting. And we've got Enchantress in the jungle for Shazam. And the other thing to note is we're going to have a roaming around Bounty Hunter. So those are the two heroes that aren't really going to take to lanes. We expect them to be moving around quite a bit. And now we're going to see them on the same screen together. It's KYH, just making sure that the Enchantress doesn't get too much in the jungle. Bounty Hunter for a long time was, when Enchantress was last really popular in the meta, Bounty Hunter was a big pick as a result because of his ability to really shut down the jungling. It was the same thing with some of the other big junglers at the time. Bounty really does a good job of shutting that down. But it is made a little bit more complicated by this, the addition of this camp. As you see it right now, it's drawn on the map. KYH already indicating where the Enchantress was and where she's moving down towards that bottom lane. The Bounty keeping tabs, knowing exactly where that enchant's going to be, and then he was just kind of body blocking the pole camp there. As Brax will pick up an Invis rune. Unfortunately, no Ion Shell, so not really able to do too much with it, but it will give him the ability to just kind of stand in lane and get some XP. Maybe he'll even use it to get a last hit. If he sees fit, he might even just come out of it here. Yeah. There's value in holding into that Invis if you're constantly getting zoned out. If the enemy team is devoting 2 heroes down here to zoning you out, or even if the one support is really constantly on you, constantly zoning you out, there's some value in holding that Invis. But when it's just you kind of up against a safe lane farmer because the support's pulling, there's really no reason to sit in it. As Clairvoyant's going to get netted up here by the Dark Troll Summoner from SVG. KYH is here as well. Will he open up? He's going to go on to SVG, but Clairvoyant's getting very, very low, and we're going to have our second kill of the game. There it is. SVG gets it.
Radiant's bottom tower.
As Dust's going to get used, as they're going to pop out KYH, but KYH is going to get the return kill there. So he drops SVG, and Brax pops his Surge and starts running away. So an aggressive chase there all the way to the tier 2 tower in the bottom lane ends up in just being a wash, with each team losing a support. Our mid lane, once again, MSS winning that. 16 and 9 CS compared to Mason's 11 and 4. So not as one-sided as what we saw last game. As Mason just with a quick pause and unpause immediately. But now KYH is going to TP towards the mid lane. They're going to do the bottle trick where they pass that around to refill the bottle because of a TP and the lingering fountain effect. Again, another Wild Wing Ripper being used in the mid lane to constantly zone out that mid laner, and this just really helps strengthen MSS's position in the lane and his ability to farm. KYH is going to come in and get a little bit of harassing damage in. But once again, that tornado is just does so much to zone out the enemy mid laner. Make it so difficult for them. We saw exactly the same thing in that other matchup where the Invoker was struggling against it. But Snake King gets slept up for a bit. Loses about half of his HP, but makes it back to the towers. KYH now rotating down towards the bottom, coming in behind Brax. But not going to open up on him yet. We don't have an Orb of Venom up on KYH yet. He might not even go for it. Clairvoyant's going to place an Observer Ward. Brax saw that. So if Shazam has any plans of rotating down here trying to get a gank onto the Morphling, they're going to know that Observer Ward's there and they're going to avoid it. So really not the most valuable Observer Ward in the end. But I guess if it costs Shazam something to avoid that, or even prevents one gank with them kind of misstepping into it, then it should have some value. SVG and Jason are grouped up here. They don't have a smoke. They're just going to rotate through normal vision, and they're going to get scouted by this Observer Ward. But even if it wasn't there, KYH is in position, scouting it as well. Just have to be careful. Both heroes have reveal. He's got Dust of Appearance on the Enchantress and a set of sentries up on Jason as he just places an Observer Ward up on that pillar. So we're going to get stun coming out from the Enchantress. Oh my goodness, the Centaurs get the stun on the 2, and MSS just comes in and cleans up with that Sonic Wave. Now they're going to try to get some damage in here on Mason as he's going to drop down to half, and they're not going to dive past the tower for that. But 2 kills quickly going the way of Shazam off of a nice stun, Centaur Conqueror stun from SVG. And like I said, MSS just comes on and uses that Sonic Wave, and 2 heroes just get deleted.
Stop you.
Looks like our whoa.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Okay. Missing a kill there, as I believe that was over here where MSS got a kill on the Doom. But I had my eyes on the Death Prophet because Mason's managed to catch back up. 29 and 5 CS compared to the 31 and 14 from MSS. So Mason has caught back up in terms of last hits. Of course, with MSS now having, well, getting that double kill and then getting another kill on the Doom there. He's now at 4 and 0 because of his first blood as well. So he's got more than just his last hits. But Mason's certainly doing a good job of trying to keep pace with MSS at this point. Our 2 safe lane farmers are pretty even. TC with the slight edge there at 48 and 21 compared to Kataro's 40 and 15. So pretty even across the board there. But then comes the 2 difference makers. We've got 25 and 1 CS on Brax compared to the 10 and 3 from Snake King. But we always expect the Darkseer to get more out of the lane than a Doom would. But then that's also compounded by the fact that there's a Bounty Hunter on the side of Dragneel and an Enchantress on the side of Shazam, where we've got SVG sitting at 26 and 0 CS, so a lot more last hits already on the side of Shazam, but that can somewhat be countered by the fact that the Bounty Hunter, once he gets track up, they'll be getting more gold for their kills as a result. But we've seen a constant dewarding battle in the mid lane. There's been, of course, the Sentry deward battle, trying to control the mid lane Revelation to try and shut down that Bounty Hunter, or to help the Bounty Hunter actually be effective in the mid lane, if depending on which side you're looking at. But we've also seen a few Observer Wards getting countered up as well, as we had the Observer Ward get placed up here by SVG, which almost immediately got countered. Or sorry, was it? It wasn't by SVG. It was by the Bane, right? I believe it was Jason who rotated in. Yeah, and then he had the 2 sentries.
Middle tower is under attack.
Scan getting used by Shazam, scouting out this area of the map. Not going to find anyone. Jason and TC need to be a little careful here. There is not 1 but 2 Invis heroes. Bondi or Mason got the Invis rune, and KYH, of course, he's got that as a natural ability. Well, they sit up there in the top lane. They don't find an opening.
Dire's bottom
And MSS and SVG had an opening in the mid lane. Is Mason going to pop the Exorcism? He's going to try to chase down SVG here, and he will be successful. But the Enchantress minions will get the mid tier 1 tower. So it is a trade. The Enchantress for the tier 1 tower last hit. Once again, I don't know. It shows as a gold change in favor of Dragneel, but that doesn't really show the gold that goes all the way to all the heroes on Shazam. Which I think at the moment results in still results in a worthwhile trade for Shazam. They're going to get more gold out of that, but it's temporary because you have to keep in mind that the tier 1 tower on Shazam side, although it hasn't died yet, when it does die, it's going to give them the same amount of gold, assuming it doesn't get denied. So the kill is more valuable, I guess, in the long term. But right now, Shazam getting a little bit of an edge there in terms of gold as a result. Brax now getting hexed up, and he is dead to rights. We're going to have a TP coming in from MSS as he's going to go for a return kill there as he throws a Shadow Strike out, but Bounty Hunter able to jump into Invis. As Kataro also TP'd back to the fountain. We'll switch on over to our net worth and see where we are. It's going to be TC leading the way as he's at 5.4k. Then it's MSS at 5.3k. Then it's quite a ways down before we meet up with Kataro at 4.3. And then it's Mason at 3.7. That's where we end up with our two big farmers from either side. But the next two, this is or next four, I should say. That's the big difference, I'd say, in this game so far. We've got the offlaners, Brax at 3.2, Snake King at 2.6, so about a 600 gold advantage there. Then you've got SVG and KYH, where SVG is sitting at 2.8 and KYH down at 1.5. So about 1,300 there. So that's where the difference really is in this game. Obviously at the top end there's a big difference, but then even at that kind of mid-range there's a big difference as well. At the very, very bottom, both position 5 supports are pretty much dead even. But certainly Shazam right now having a gold lead, and they're going to get this tier 1 tower, which is going to give them a little bit more. But they'll get it, but they need to make sure that they get out of here because there is a smoke rotation coming in from Dragneel. They've got 4 heroes.
Dire's middle tower is under
But
attack.
they're not going to catch anything, and they're going to back away instead. Kataro pushing in the mid. Bring it down to half HP. Maybe a little bit more before anyone comes in defense. TC is going to be the first one. As Lion uses his finger, getting a kill there onto SVG. Blink away from MSS. Doesn't look like there's going to be any further action here. But with this Exorcism up on the back of that, they should be able to easily push down this tier 1 tower, make full use of that Exorcism.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
It's going to be a difficult hold for Shazam. MSS is here with double damage, although it's just about to expire. And yeah, they're just going to let it go. So the tier 1 tower goes down there, and there.
Top tower is under attack.
That play earlier for the mid tier 1 tower has now finally ended up being an advantage for Dragneel.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
As Brax close to finishing his mech, he's at 300 gold. Needs 600 more for that recipe.
Dire's
SVG
top
picked
tower
up his
is under
Midas that he
attack.
picked up in previous matches. Kataro's gone with Aquila and Perseverance. MSS, once again, he's kind of at that halfway mark for the Orchid. Jason just with your typical supporty stuff. What about Clairvoyance? He's got his Tranquils completed. Now he's going to start working towards his Blink Dagger. Mason's up at 1,400 gold, still just with kind of phase. And looks like he'll probably build into a Drums as his next item. Snake King, looks like his Drums are about completed, and TC's up at 3,100 gold. He's got Midas up on the bear, so he almost has his relic. This is what happens when you leave a lone druid unchecked, and he just sits there farming away freely. As it's kind of being a trend now for Shazam. TC free farming away both games. Saw him free farming on the Spectre, and now free farming on the lone druid. As Brax, Jason, and MSS start pushing down and towards the bottom lane as KYH makes a rotation. Need to be careful. There are sentry wards down here. He'll dodge one. And Clairvoyant's also going to come down here, but just with those two heroes, it's not going to be enough to defend. So what else are they doing on the map? Mason just kind of... I guess he's slowly making his way down. Kataro pushing up in the top. We do have two heroes in the mid lane from Shazam. And now Snaking coming down here, so it is going to be 3 versus 3 until Mason comes, and he's going to TP a very short distance, but it is going to be enough to get in front of Brax. So they get the kill in the Darkseer. And the tier 2 tower doesn't really take that much damage. TC's now up at 3,800 gold, so he can buy his relic, and the bear just went and did that. What about Kataro's push in the top lane? He got the top tier 1 to 282 HP. Yes. TC hits the courier there, and it was close to even ticking out from the Orb of Venom from the bear's attack. But not... Where did that courier go? What? I have no idea. I can't see it. It's still off the map, I guess. I'm blind. Maybe? I don't know. I can't find it. It was low, though. Scan getting used here by Dragneel. Seeing if there's any heroes here. Or was getting used by Shazam, excuse me. I was going to say, Jason was under the effect of it, but it stayed green. Either way, it doesn't look like this, well, never mind. I was going to say, it doesn't look like this smoke is going to end up in Dragneel running into anyone, but Brax runs into them instead. And now Dragneel will just go back to pushing this tier 1 tower. But they're a little reserved on their positioning here, as they know that Shazam's coming in. They do have Exorcism available if Mason chooses to pop it. It looks like they'll back away. They're not going to take the risk. They're not going to go for it yet. Maybe that was an opportunity that they could have gone for with the Radiance not yet completed by TC. But they chose not to go for that, and maybe that's the right call. The Orchid had just been completed by MSS, so they had that to worry about. Well, they're going to have a push in the top tier too. So obviously Shazam feels a lot stronger at this point in the game, even though they don't have that Radiance completed. But they're just going to chip at the tier 2. They're not going to hard commit. They've got their Bane in the mid lane, so they're only going to be 4 up there. Kataro closing in on getting that Lincoln's completed as he's going to waveform forward. He does have a replicate that was just expiring there, and MSS coming in with the Orchid. I think that was the plan, to jump back to the replicate. But MSS, that Orchid, completely shutting down the Morphling. And Kataro goes down, and Shazam once again find themselves a little bit ahead. Because now we have the Radiance completed by TC. This is going to make life that much more difficult for Dragneel. And we spoke a little bit about the advantage of hero kills being more valuable to Dragneel because of the effect of track, but we really haven't seen many kills this game at all. It's only 5-7 right now, with Shazam having the upper hand there, but we just haven't seen kills happen. We haven't seen track kills, so they haven't been able to take advantage of that. And Shazam, part of it is just them playing good Dota. They're playing safe. They're not trying to force anything. They're playing reserved, a lot similar to how we saw them play the other game as well, where they had an advantage, but they weren't trying to force it. And Artosis, SC2 caster, he's got probably one of the big famous esports quotes of, when you're ahead, get further ahead. And that's a pretty good example of exactly how Shazam is playing this game right now. They're ahead, but it's time to get more ahead. We're not far enough ahead where we can just go and completely smash our opponents yet, so let's get further and further ahead. Of course, there is the downside of doing that in Dota, because it is a little bit of a different game than StarCraft 2, but because of comeback mechanics. The further and further ahead you get, if you make a mistake, that's just going to result in your opponent getting ridiculous amounts of gold. So there's kind of a point where I think maybe you don't get further ahead because it becomes more and more risky the further and further ahead you get. But either way, I like the position Shazam is in right now. They've kind of invested a little bit further into the game, once again, picking up a Midas on the Enchantress, having the standard Midas on the Spirit Bear. And even the Radiance. The Radiance is, although it's an item that can put pressure on the map by pushing creep waves and wiping out creep waves without the Lone Druid really putting himself in danger, it still largely is a farming item. So we don't really have a strong ability to fight yet on Shazam, or at least not as strong as it could be if they didn't invest in some of the more efficient late game items. Or I struggle to say late game items, but that's essentially what Hand of Midas is, even though you pick it up in the first 10 minutes of the game. It's an item that's investing in the late game that you're eventually going to sell, but it's a late game item. It's not a fight now item. It's a maybe fight in the mid game, definitely fight later on kind of item where you're already looking to replace it at that point because it's giving you a ridiculous amount of gold and XP. Lincoln's completed by Kataro as will we finally see Dragneel get this tier 1 tower? It looks like yes, as Shazam's got a full 5 in the bottom lane. As they're going to go for the trade here, and it's a tier 1 for a tier 2. So upper hand for Shazam, but Glyph's going to delay them, and here comes Dragneel. They're going to look to defend. They're going to kill off one Satyr, but MSS and the boys of Shazam are playing fairly far back. So there's not going to be any opportunity for Dragneel to engage, but look at this. We got a smoke from Shazam. What are they going to do with this? Are they going to look to turn around and engage into Dragneel, or are they going to look to sneak Roche? I think that would be really risky, but they've smoked up, and though Dragneel doesn't have any wards around here, it is going to maybe result in two teams clashing here, because we got a smoke from Dragneel as well. Scan's going to get used by Dragneel around the entrance to Roche Pit. And now they'll go in and face check it. They'll see nothing. But Shazam's smoke has expired, and they'll go and head back down towards the bottom lane, as now they're going to use a scan at the Roche Pit entrance. As here we go. Snake King going to start to engage, as now the bear's on him. As MSS, is he actually stuck in the trees there? No, he can walk out of that. Either way, he's going to blink in. There's the engage. Sonic Wave, actually a whiff. He misses there, but the Screen of Pain hits, and that deals a lot of damage to the few heroes there. As we're going to have our Lion go down first. Yule Scepter going to maybe keep Mason alive. No, he's going to go down as soon as he lands from that. As Kataro waveforms away. Snake King, KYH, all three of them trying to run away. MSS will blink forward. Scream of Pain. Snake King's going to tick up from that. KYH is the next target, as he's getting burned by the Radiance from the bear. But MSS blinks up onto the high ground and gets the kill there. So 4 hero kills going the way of Shazam. They get the bottom tier 2 tower, and now they're going to keep pushing uphill, going for this tier 3 tower, as they get 2,900 gold swing their way as a result of that last engagement. And it's going to add on a little bit more, because the tier 3 tower is dead here as well, and they may even be able to stick around for the melee racks. Kataro is going to try to delay them, but it's just going to cost him his life, as that was a little bit of a throw there. As good game, well played, will get called, as Dragneel going to tap out of this one early. As this was kind of the battle of two juggernauts here in this group, and Shazam takes it in 22 minutes in very commanding fashion. They had complete control of that game, but maybe a little early GG call, a little early for my liking at least. But that's going to be it for that one, I guess. Little weird to call it that early, but it is a set of racks down, and Shazam very much so looked in control of that game. But that means Shazam goes into our playoffs in the winners bracket. They're going to finish first in the group. We will see one more game from Dragneel as our 5th game of the night. where they'll be playing up against the winner of our next match, which is Perky Pepperonis and Not Today. But guys, that's going to do it for this one. Once again, I was Niz. Hopefully you're enjoying the cast so far. Our next match is scheduled to start in 13 minutes time for now. Of course, our last game was delayed quite a bit because of some Dota 2 patches, but hopefully that one will start on time. Either way, I'll go live as soon as I can, or I'll switch on into the game. I'll still stay live, but hopefully you'll stick around and you'll stick with us for that series, because it should be a good one. But I'll see you again in 13 minutes.